My grandfather established a shipping company called the American Foreign Steamship Corporation, and he had his two sons work in the business. They work in the same office, and one day someone comes from the Jewish agency, and my grandfather's out of town. And they said, well, we'd like to talk to you about, you know, ships and the displaced persons. And my father said, well, my father isn't here. And I said, well, can you help us? And he goes, you got the wrong guy. I don't know anything about this. And they said, well, let us tell you about this. And as soon as they described the plight of the Jews who had no home after the war and needed to get to Palestine, my father said, I'll do anything I can. And he devoted the next year and a half of his life just to the Haganah. Not with his brother and not with his father. He took this on himself. Procuring ships, finding ships, he was able to see if they were seaworthy, and he was able to get the engineers to come in, and then he was able to hire the people they needed to refit them. He was overseeing all of this. One story said, you know, I looked at the boats and I said, you know, this is a woman's bathroom, you have to put in tampon machines. He just right down to the really knowing what the refugees were going to need. There were the little stories they told about, you know, bribing. They had to fly out on a Panamanian flag, and the British informed the Panamanians that this was going to happen, and so they bribed the guy with 2 cases of champagne to leave town for 3 days, and while he was out of town, the ship sailed. So they did all sorts of like little things like that. This was between 46 and 47. And I heard that they could do it within a month or 2, they could refit the ships. I think my father was so committed to saving these people and to getting them a homeland. He just said, this is what I have to do. My dad died in 1991 at the age of 83, and he had a brain tumor. And he was treated at Mount Sinai, and a young neurologist took over his last few days of care. And then they published an obituary, and it said in the obituary that my dad was responsible for bringing 33,000 refugees to Palestine. And Danny got a call from this young neurologist about a week later and said, I didn't know that about your father, but my father was one of the people on those ships.